everybody. This is Angela with Happy Little Stitch Shop. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Today we are going to kick off our Oh Happy Day Block of the Month Sew Along. We are doing this sew along featuring this quilt pattern, Oh Happy Day by Sandy Gervais for Riley Blake Designs. This also features Sandy's quilt collection, fabric collection called Oh Happy Day, which is filled with vibrant, beautiful colors, perfect for this time of year as we kick winter to the curb and welcome spring. So I'm so glad that you are sewing this beautiful quilt with me. By the time we finish all of our blocks, we are gonna have a lovely quilt to enjoy. So a little bit of an explanation. As we go through this sew along, I will do videos every month to go through the blocks that we are gonna be making that month. Now, I'm not going to go into huge detail each month with the blocks because most of you know how to do general piecing and all of that, which is what this quilt consists of, is panels and piecing. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on how to make the blocks, but we're kind of going to use these videos as a way to sew with each other, even though we're doing it virtually. So I will highlight the blocks that we're going to sew each month. I will go through a general brief overview of what we're going to be doing, and then I really encourage you to use these videos and the comments below to ask questions if you have questions and kind of build this community around this sew along through this YouTube video, to ask questions of each other, say what you're liking, what you're enjoying about it, leave comments, all of those kinds of things. I also encourage you to check out our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group. It's a private group called Happy Little Stitchers. Just go to Facebook, search for Happy Little Stitchers. It's a great place to share your projects, to ask questions of other stitchers and sewers. It's a great, wonderfully friendly environment to encourage others, find inspiration, all of those things. So number one, comment on these YouTube videos and let's enjoy this sew along experience together. Number two, join our Happy Little Stitchers Facebook group and use that as a forum as well for questions or all of those things. And as always, you can feel free to reach out to me. My email is happylittlestitchshop@gmail.com. I welcome any questions. If I don't know the answer, then I will try to find somebody who does and I will get a solution for you. That's what I try to do every time I have a question asked of me. So let's jump into this sew along. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your pattern and you're gonna sit down and you're gonna read through it. That's always the first thing that people recommend to do, is just sit down and look through your pattern, kind of go through the whole thing so you have an idea of what's gonna happen and what's expected as we go through and make this quilt. So grab your pattern, go have a seat, and look through the pattern and read all about it. And then we'll come back and we'll start our first block. This month, we'll be working through blocks 1, 2, and 3 of the Oh Happy Day quilt. So after you read your pattern, come on back and we'll start with block 1. Okay, so now we've had a chance to kind of go through our pattern for the Oh Happy Day quilt, and now we're gonna look at block 1. So our focus for the first part is block 1. Block 1, as you know from your pattern, consists of our Oh Happy Day panel. So this came in your quilt kit. You'll grab out your panel and it just goes through how to cut your panel. Probably the trickiest part about this one is the flying geese strip that's on the side. So just pay attention as you're cutting this. You're gonna cut it according to the dimensions in the pattern, but keep in mind that one of your geese will not be complete. It will be partial because you have to cut someplace and this is an entire continuous row. So you're gonna have to cut kind of half of one of your geese off. So don't be worried or freaked out about that. The best thing is to look at the diagram on page 7 and look how that flying goose block is laid out. And then that will kind of aid you with your cutting for the flying geese block. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna cut up all of my blocks. I'm gonna cut up my flying geese block according to the pattern, and then I'm gonna sew those strips together according to the pattern, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I've done. Hello everybody, so we are back from cutting up our block. I've gone through our panel, not our block. I've cut up all the blocks from our panel. So I'm gonna show you those quick. here is my Flying Geese block. I cut up the strips and I pieced it all together. As you can see, the strips are alternating. The tops, remember we're gonna have that 1/4 inch seam around. I'm a little concerned that I'm short in some spots, so we'll see how it works out. But that is the Flying Geese block. And then all of the other blocks I trimmed down so that they're all the right size according to the pattern. I don't know that I'll go through and show you all of them, but they're all supposed to be about the same size. It really helps if you have the ruler that is the size you need to square it up to. I did not, so I had to make do with what I had, and I'm hoping that they are squared up and centered enough that everything will be a-okay after this quilt is made. So there are all of my panel pieces cut up and ready to go. So now you can set those aside until we need them for piecing the whole thing together. Now we're gonna move on to block 2. For block 2, let's look at the fabric you're gonna need. You're gonna need your big chunk of cream texture yardage that you got in your kit. You're also going to need the green shoe fly yardage that you got in your kit and the blue circle yardage that you got in your kit. So those are the 3 pieces of fabric you're gonna need for block 2. Block 2 is quite a large block, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to cut everything up. But you can go now and cut up all of your fabric for block 2 from these 3 pieces of fabric that I just showed you, and then start piecing it together according to the pattern. And then we'll come back and I'll show you my block 2. And if I find any issues along the way, anything that's causing me trouble, then I will be sure to share it with you in this video. Otherwise, I think the piecing is pretty straightforward. But as always, if you have questions or if you want to see more of something in these videos, if something would be helpful to see, please let me know. I can do some things, I can't do everything because I don't want to infringe on the pattern that the designer put together, but I can try to show more and help out as much as I can. So right now, take those 3 fabrics and go cut up all of the pieces that you need and start to put together block 2, and then I'll come back and I'll show you block 2, and we'll move on to our final block for this month, which is block 3. Hey everybody, so I'm in the middle of making my second block and I've come across a couple things. Number 1, have you had to get your seam ripper out yet? Because I have. So first of all, when you're making your half square triangles, like I have made here, really make sure that you have right sides together. This vanilla texture fabric is so similar in poor lighting to the wrong side of the fabric that I pieced some of these together, wrong side, right side together. So just make sure that so that you don't have to get your seam ripper out, that you have right sides together for your half square triangles. Number 2, I am working on putting the triangles on the bottom of my center units. So 2 things. Number 1, when you are taking your square to put onto the center unit, let's look down at the fabric. So you have your right sides together, you're putting your square down here, and then you're supposed to sew diagonal to diagonal. I am not a great blind diagonal sewer, and so I have been adding just a diagonal line on the wrong side of my fabric, and this helps me make sure that I'm sewing correctly. So just line your fabric up, draw a diagonal line from corner to corner. I'm just using a friction pen. This will come off later. And then I'm gonna line it up here, right on the corner like this, according to your pattern. And I'm gonna sew from edge to edge. The second thing, after I finish sewing this, I'm going to bring it back and trim a 1/4 inch. The pattern does not say this, but you're gonna trim this after you sew it a 1/4 inch, and then it will look like this. You know, you've got a 1/4 inch seam on the other side. Okay, so those are a couple things that might be easier for you. If I come across something else as I'm making it, I'll let you know, but those are a few tips as I've been going through. Now I'm gonna continue making my second block, and I will be back in a bit. Hey everybody, so are you finished piecing block number 2 yet? I have finished mine and here's what it looks like. It is quite a large block, but I am all done and I did need to use my seam ripper a few more times, so hopefully you didn't have to use your seam ripper and all went smoothly. And now we are going to look at the fabric that's needed for block 3. So for block 3, you will need your chunk of vanilla texture yardage again. You will need your red check fabric, your red diamond fabric, your green check fabric, and your green shoe fly fabric. So all of this fabric is what you will need for block 3. You can go ahead and look at the pattern and cut up your fabric according to the quilt pattern instructions and start piecing. And again, I will come back if there are any issues that I run into when piecing block 3. Otherwise, we will see you back here once block 3 is all done. Hello, so we've gone through all of the fabrics that we need to make block 3, and hopefully you've been able to go through and follow your pattern and piece those blocks together. I will give you a little tip. After making block 1, I was a little bit frustrated because my measurement wasn't coming out right. When I went back and looked at the pattern, I noticed that the measurements that it gives for the block say finished block, that your finished block should measure 20 by 20 for the second block that we made. That's finished in the quilt, so it's not pieced, and that when you get done piecing it, that's what it should be, but that's when it's finished and in the quilt. So your pieced block should be, if you take into consideration 1/4 inch seams, it should be 20.5 by 20.5. So I was off on my measurements and I was like, what is happening? So that's just a little tip. Keep in mind that in the pattern it says finished block measures blah, blah, blah. So keep that in mind when you're piecing. Otherwise, I went through and I made my blocks for block 3. So you're gonna have a green one and a red one. The tip that I have for this, one time you can see I had to rip this one out because I had this top block turned. So make sure that your vanilla color is on the outside and then your check color is next. You know, like make sure all of these line up correctly so that they're right in the block. So I had to rip mine out and I had to twist this because I just wasn't paying attention when I pieced it together. And when I got it all together, I was like, that doesn't look right. What is wrong? And then I figured out that it wasn't lining up. And the same thing with your green one. The vanilla ones should be all the way on that far outside. So make sure that those are correct. And then that's it for our first month of our Oh Happy Day Sew Along. I'm so excited to have month 1 done, and now we're on our way. And I feel like this is gonna be a really fun quilt to make. So I will be back with you soon, probably within the next couple weeks, because I want to get ahead for our videos and have our April video posted ahead of time. So I will be back soon with another video for month 2 of our Oh Happy Day Quilt Along, and I will let you know what blocks we're going to tackle for month 2 and go through all the information that you need for that. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can be notified when that video gets posted. So thank you so much for quilting with me. Please give us a thumbs up. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook under Happy Little Stitch Shop. And please be sure to subscribe to our Happy Little Stitch Shop YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have as much fun making this quilt as I do. It's going to be a very happy and vibrant quilt, and I can't wait to get it done. Have a wonderful day, you guys. We'll see you next time. Happy stitching.